Hello there, Sid here, and welcome to the Drunken Ork. Now, as you're probably aware, if you watch the Warboss show over on the Warboss channel with myself, Essex, 6 Plus Stevo, Dread from Dreadward Gaming, Scar from Plastic Crack Gaming, and Dim, the Hobbygit, we're all on there and we do a show. At the moment, it's most weeks, but about a year ago, we had a vote as to what was the best Ork kit for kit bashing. And we didn't have a vote, sorry. We all nominated a kit, and you voted. And the results came in with the Battlewagon, which I think is not the best kit, the kit bash, if I'm being totally honest. But I understand why it was voted. I think the best kit, the kit bash, for me, is probably the truck. Well, it is the truck. And then it would be a toss-up between the Wasbomb Blaster and the Death Dreads. They're my choices. But the truck is like kit bashing on easy. There's so much you can do with the truck kit. So why would you want to see people do stuff with the truck kit, which you could do yourself? And it's obvious. Let's pick the Battlewagon kit, because that's a bit of it, more of a challenge, you know what I mean? So we only had 12 months to do it, as it happened. So only 3 of us managed to do it. 50%. It's not the best, but you know. It wasn't 50. It was more like 58. 58.5 maybe. Because there was a little bit of an effort. Stevo got some done. But you know, life gets in the way. I fully understand that. I occasionally go through periods of complete inactivity. You know, can't be helped. But the 3 that did get done, there's a video already been out on the Warboss channel of Clint from Essex Boys, War Rig, big long fuel tanker thing, very Mad Max. Dim, the Hobbygit, has done a mechanical squig, which is just mint big chompy jaws and legs, and he managed to use quite a few of the kits that were in the pool, not just the Battlewagon to be fair. And my kill rig, my Goth Rokker kill rig. Now, not only has that video been out, I've also already done a video, like a shortened build video, like a trailer, and this is the full feature length version that trailer is for. So if you've seen the trailer, you might want to see this, because it's like the director's cut. There's loads of extra bits. Loads of bits I thought, don't leave that in and cut it out. Yeah, you get to see it now. All the shite. So I don't know why you'd want to watch it, but yeah, why not, eh? It is quite long, so get a flask of tea and some sandwiches. Tell your loved ones where you'll be so they don't worry. And yeah, let's get cracking with the build. So this is what I've got done so far. This is going to be the main non-organic part of the kill rig, if that makes sense. So if you ignore this bit from the top, and we just look at that, that's just the cab of the Battlewagon. So I cut this bit off, that was going there, and as you can see, that was a fantastic cut. What a pain in the arse that was to do. So I'm going to remove that, and that to me has got killed Mega Tank written all over it. That. Stick some tracks on it, build up the back, sorted. But that's for another day. So what I've done with the cab of the Battlewagon is I've built it up with these bits, which were the side panels of the back of the Battlewagon. So you've gone there, and I've put some extra little support struts inside just to help keep those on. There's a little pin there, another strut there, and I've put some built up the top with some plastic card, some little right angled bits there, and there's a couple on this side just to support these bits on the top. Now what they're for is so I can put the top of the Battlewagon back on so it fits in there snugly. Now I haven't glued it on yet because I might want to do something inside. I don't know if I'm going to close this gap off yet, or if I'm going to leave it open so you can see the driver. Now the driver, because that's going to sit on the kill rig base like that near the back, and it's going to be pulled by the Trampler Squig, which I've already painted up, as you can probably tell. It's not great plastic. Nearly finished it. I've got the rest of the metals to do. It's just base metal at the minute. So that's going to be pulling it, and I was thinking I might have a little driver in there holding on to some chains which connect up somewhere around the head. But the original connection port for the Trampler Squig, these ports on its arse to there, I'm going to connect up to the ports on the wagon there as well. That'll be the main pulling harness. Now this big flat piece at the back, which looks ridiculous, that is basically just a base at the minute for this, which I knocked up. Is just a basic, it's basically, this is me speakers. Should have probably mentioned that if I haven't already, that this is going to be crewed by a rock band. So for speakers, I was looking through speakers on the internet and I found a picture. It looks like an old sort of Woodstock style thing. I'm not too sure where it was from, but it was just a massive pile of speakers. So I thought I'd do something like that. Just a plastic card box, and then stuck with a little bit of surround on. Some glyphs on the side as well, and a mismatch of different thickness plastic cards on the front, a plastic tubing, and then a bit of green stuff just to build the speakers themselves inside. And the back was a mirror image of the speakers just scored into the plastic card, and I'm probably going to have to do the wiring coming out of each one of those going down into the back of the wagon, because that is going to sit like that. Big wall of speakers. That's the idea anyway. What I have also toyed with the idea is instead of having lots of wires, maybe a big flag or something sort of hanging down on the back. Now what's on the back, normally I'd want it on the front facing forward, but if it's on the back, it's something nice for me to look at, you know what I mean? And then paint, like, you know, the band logo on there, something, if I think of something suitably decent. Now I haven't put any of the doors on yet. Door there at the back, and on the other side, of course. I might put the original doors on. I might make some sort of half door, so there's like a gap at the top. I'm thinking I'm going to fill these gaps, this one, that one, and this one at the back, with some scrim tape. I've got a square of it cut off here, so I can just sort of stick that over there, trim it to size, and if I take that off, with those I just need to, you know, stick it on the back, and that's fine. If I put it on there, I'll probably corner it off either side with a bit of plastic card. Where are we? There we go. Something like that. Got a right angle. So if you can imagine, put that there, and that'll just go on like that. It just sort of like rounds it off. Nice and neat. Also, if I use this, it means that if I do end up putting that on the back and using the wires, I'll just feed the wires through the holes, and I don't really have to go anywhere. Ah, cheeky. So yeah, that's where I'm up to so far. The idea is that this bit, put that back in place for a sec. Look at that, dead easy now. I was right funny on that to start with. Now it just slots into place. But this will be, if you've got the speakers there, I'll need to do something on top of the roof bit, but I'll be able to fit a drummer either over this corner or just central. Central's probably better. And maybe a keyboardist. He's a bit of a problem at the minute, I don't know where to put him, but I could easily just stick him around there. Have those two quite close together. I don't know, is a keyboard percussion? I don't think it is. I mean, you hit the keys, depends how hard you hit them, I suppose. But you know, I might put them there, I don't know where yet. But on the sides here, I want 2 sets of stairs going down, and then I'm going to have 2 platforms here. Now if I show you on the side view, the stairs will come down here from the back corner by the speakers down to about that level, just above the wheels. Yeah. And I've got these bits off the battle wagon, since that's the kit we're using, you might as well use a lot of it. And I'll put them there. There's little side platforms. So if that's going there, roughly, then the platform will be about there. And then obviously another one on that side. I might have to jig them around a little bit to find out exactly where they go, but that's the idea. And that's somewhere for the guitarists, or the guitarist and the bassist to stand. And that way we've got the two axemen as the fellas on the side of the kill rig who chop people up with the big axes. So yeah, and then once they've got the platform, the stairs will go back up. Maybe not as high as that, obviously, just to the height of the shoulders on the trampler squig. It'll go over the top, and then we'll have the lead singer stood up there singing. So that's the idea. I wanted to maybe have another platform in the centre for that keyboardist, but I'm not going to do that. It's not as long. If I didn't have a bass, I would do it, but it would end up like this long, and it would be huge. I'd need two of them, or a team of them. Two of them would be cool, like, but they do look too identical, so I'm not going to do that. So that's the plan at this stage anyway. Now that's still looking a bit funky. There's a lot of stuff needs doing, especially with this front section, and also with all the doors, the back, and the top needs its rivets, and maybe an additional stage on top of it. If I do put someone on top, I'm not just going to get a bit of plastic card and, you know, clagging on top. I'm going to have to raise it up a bit. I think that would be the best way to do that. So I've got some more plastic rod here I'm going to be using. I've got some I've got, obviously, as I mentioned before, the right angle bits. Oh, there we go. I've got some of the right angle triangle bits I've used. That's good stuff. I've got this, which is like a T-bar. I'm going to use some of that T-bar section here. I'm going to stick a bit there and a bit on there, and they're basically going to act as supports, or the base for the supports for this, because that's just sticking out with a stupid angle at the minute. And I've got a little bit of I-bar rod here. That's going to focus in. There we go. Which is like little girders, or girders, if you ever drank iron brew. And I'm going to have those, you know, positioned like that, just to act some proper support. So I've got that, and then when it comes for the walkways on the side, I've got some of this card. I say card. A smaller bit and a couple of bigger bits. Now I don't know which ones I'm going to use yet. I'd rather use the smaller, but I've only got that, so I'm going to need to get some more of that, or just bite the bullet and use the bigger stuff. But this is, to be fair, quite expensive. I was going to use this on a stomper, that's what I got it for, so I haven't got around to using it yet. Turn it that way. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? Diamonds. Yeah, it's quite expensive. When I first bought it, I didn't look at the price. I just picked it up out of the bin and went, yeah, champion. Leave the bin at the hobby store. And then I was thinking, how much is all this costing? It's a lot more than I thought. And I checked the receipt and they were like £4 a piece. Whereas the rest of the rods were like, you know, under £1. So, I mean, you can see why, but still, all the same, you know what I mean? Expense. But I do have to go back there anyway, because I want to get some more of this right angled stuff, right angled triangle bar, but I want bigger. I want it bigger. I want it a lot bigger. So I can basically put those at 45 degrees and just stick some of those on to act as the stairs. But obviously this isn't very big, so if I can get it about twice the size, it'll just obviously be a lot more chunky. So I'm going to get some more of that. So yeah, another trip to the hobby store. Should have went today really, I'm back to work tomorrow, but you know, hindsight and all that, 2020. But yeah, that's where I'm up to at the minute. Right, so it's time for another update. So as you can see, there's been a few little bits added on. I've decided just to go with the standard Battlewagon doors because they're cool doors, to be fair. I do like them, and they're big and beefy, and there's some nice sort of like patches on them and some dags on that one. And I put the steps on as well with the bars, just because it gives a little bit more width on the side there. I think it looks cool. I put the scrim tape on these windows, there and up there and on the back, and then I did sort of boxes in with some of those right angled bits of plastic rod as well. Put the T-bars on there just for somewhere for the I-bar supports to rest, and you can see up here it's a bit messy, but I just drilled through there with I think it was an 8mm drill bit, so a proper drill as opposed to like a Dremel, which is always fun because they're a little bit more, you know, the whole model spins out your hand and gets destroyed type of shite. But I wanted the hole in so I could feed where the grey splats are the I-bar up, just to give it a better connection really. And that is just sprue goo, which I've daubed all over just to help hold it in place, and then, you know, flattened it. It doesn't really matter because that's going to have the speaker flat on top of it. Thusly, is that a word? Underneath I've added some, if you can see this, there we go, just some plates, just to sort of give it a bit of a bit more character, help patch up some of the gaps around the I-bar, and, you know, just if it's a big, nice, flat, smooth sheet, it doesn't look very orky. And I've also added some of those around these side pieces as well. Let's get in the centre. There you go. Now you might notice, I had back doors on as well. Need some ladders. You might notice a little bit of plastic rod sticking up there. That is because on top of the cab now has that, which is a little bit of checker plate, and it's got little legs, so it's lifted up. It's a stage on a stage, so when that goes on, he says very easily, for goodness sake, there we go, that goes on like that, and that is where the drummer's going to sit. And obviously that's set a little bit further forward in the speakers, otherwise it wouldn't fit. And that little bar was just not going to go into the lid, so I had to stick it in there. So we'll just drill the hole through, poke the bar through, super glued in place, so it's got a nice join with the stage and the bottom. I've done the same with that, and then just snip them off. It's a much better, it's a much stronger connection if it's glued all the way around the circumference of the bar onto the sides, as opposed to just putting a dab on the end and trying to glue a stick directly on it. Drill a hole through and put the glue all around here, and it'll get a much better connection. At least that's what I've found. I was going to put some blobs of sprue glue on and all to secure it, but it's not really necessary. So that's pretty much where we're up to. Now you might notice some black marks on the side here. That is because I think what I'm going to do is put a bit of square bar across there, because I'm going to end up blocking this in. I think I'm not going to have the open cab with the driver. I don't think. That may change, but if I put this bar there, now that's the marks sort of show where it's going to go. I need to pad this side out a bit and lift it forward a bit, just a couple of mil. It means that these bits, which I've already cut the size, will go there. Like that. Now the reason the bar's there is just, I don't know how, that's not going to glue on very well. that's not going to be a very strong connection. That'll get knocked and that'll just come straight off. But if I put that bar through there into that right angle, it's an extra bit of contact to glue the struts on, and it'll be that little bit stronger. Obviously then I'll snip it off to the right size and what have you. And I'll probably do that somewhere else as well, near the bottom, just to give it extra support. Might use a bit of this eye bar, but the little square rods are just as good and a bit cheaper, so I'll probably use them. Now, one thing I do need to do is, before I glue these on, I think I'm gonna, instead of having them there, because I need to go obviously over the doors, I might have it lifted slightly, just a couple of mil. So I'm going to put another strip of plastic card in there, but I'm going to have it coming out, so it comes out here. Maybe it's just a centimetre or so, and that'll mean that when that's there, you've essentially got to top to the stairs, because the stairs I'm going to build on it are going to be more sticking out that way as opposed to towards the centre. If that makes any sense. You'll see in a few minutes anyway. And then at the bottom, that'll be attached onto there, like that. I see it like that. I don't know exactly how I'm going to attach it yet. Look, I might try pinning it. I'm sure I can get a pin down through this piece, through that plate, just to add a little bit extra sort of strength. I say a little bit extra strength. It'll be a lot of strength if I can do it. And then maybe just a bit of sprue glue, or some super glue and baking soda across there to act as like a weld. Then the stairs will come down and they'll stop about, well, they'll stop about there, which has got plenty of space for the guitarists to stand. And then obviously on the other side, they'll head off there. So that's basically how much space the guitarist is going to have to stand on, which is plenty, especially considering the sides of it are going to be sloping up and out. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be working on next. The stairs, and by extension something on the front. Once I've got the front done, that's pretty much complete, apart from that fucking keyboardist. Where am I going to put him? I did contemplate using something like these and having them coming out of there, like a bit of scaffold, and having him on a separate stage of a different height, not higher than the speakers, that would look ludicrous, but a bit higher than the drummer. Alternatively, instead of those, I'm sure I've got some fixing bolts downstairs, big Yarkin grade bolts, and if I can stick one of those underneath with the screw thread coming up, that'll be quite good, because then he stands on the top and it'll look like he sort of rotates out the stage to height, you know, a little bit fancy. Or I might not bother, I might just stick a cover on there. I haven't stood on this bit, just level it off a bit and, you know, have them on there. Might just do that, yeah. I don't know. There's a problem that I haven't stood on there is it would have to be, the hatch would have to be bigger than the hole, because if you put him on there, his feet would essentially be almost off the sides. He's a little bit leg splayed. But yeah, so I've got the top of that to finish. I've got the front to box in, and I've got the, if I can get the downwards struts done, and then maybe it's attached to the plates, that would be great. I'm going to need to go and buy some more plastic rod though. I need some more of this. That's all I've got left. Just that. Apart from, I think there's a teeny tiny little scrap of it knocking about, which I'm going to take with us to the shops tomorrow, just to use to size up, to make sure I buy the right one for the other side. And I need some that right angle, the triangular bar as well. And then of course I've got a lot of rivets to do. But to block the front in, what I have got I've got these treasures, and these are basically just lots of resin plates, which, I mean, that's quite rough and ready armour. That looks very heavy duty. I'm not using that in it. That's for a bigger build. There we go. Little armour plates or armour panels. Some nice corner bits. You just, like I say, with this stuff, got this from There we go. Got this from Ramshackle. So snap that off, and then you can literally, I mean, I would use a tool normally. I would use my tool to do this, but I don't have it handy. No. But you get the idea. You just snap off the excess, and you've got a lovely little armour panel. And there's a lot of them here, obviously much bigger. So I think I'm going to box in the front with that. Also got some of these great little bits. There we go. So we've got like just boxes and corner sections, some exhausts. I don't really know what that is. Somebody's shoe. It's not a shoe. Oh, a little bolter thing there sticking out. Yeah, some cool little bits and bobs. If I don't use them on this one, I'll certainly use them on something else. Hatches. You see the hatch there? Get the glare off the bag. So yeah, this is all going to be dead useful. Save us fanning on with plastic card. So I'm going to use that. So there we go. Can I say so one more time? Yeah. So see you in a bit. So this is where we're up to. As you can see, there's a couple of changes. I've the most noticeable one is this, which is basically the framework for the rest of the rig. And there's these two little bars here, which are part of the harness. And of course, I've boxed in the front there. I decided to box it in as opposed to having a driver. So if I get the base, so I've got the base and this sits there. Thereabouts. So they sort of clip into, they don't clip, but they'll be glued into the sockets on the squig. There's a little bit of flexibility on them, so I don't have to get perfectly positioned. And there's the tramper squig from the front, and this is where these two platforms are where the axemen will stand. I call them axemen, you know, the bassist and the guitarist for the band, or whatever the hell they call them on the kill rig. I can't remember. I'm going to have a platform up here, which is where the singer is, and of course the keyboardist is going to be there. But that's roughly where it'll be. This is just a bar to support the platform, and I might use another bit of this just to go, you know, like that, or whatever angle, I don't know yet. Obviously I have to do that with the squig in, so I see where I'm not going to hit. But yeah, anyway, yeah, this is where we're up to. So I've boxed that in. There's a bar here that runs all the way through. That's just to add a little bit more structural stability to these bits. And I do need to fit these on. I've got a spare lobber and I've got a spare sticker, I think it's called, the big harpoon gun. Now I don't know where to put these. I'm not 100% sold yet. I could stick them on top of the speaker. Like up there, and have the sticker there, one in each corner. But that's quite high. I don't know if that's too high. I could always put a side sponsor out for them, but that may be too wide and still quite high up. I'm thinking actually put a platform on the end of this bar and have them there. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. Most of these things will come to us as I'm doing them. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, stuck the boarding ramp on the back as well. It's quite a drop, that. So that's how they get in and out. Although I might put some little ladders or something here, and obviously on the other side as well, because this is obviously where the troops, if it's carrying troops, will be situated. I think that's all I've really done so far on it. There's a bit of muck going on here. That's just a bit of sprue glue I was using to fill some gaps. I'll sand that down, or I'll probably actually plate it with a bit more armour plating, because obviously it's just very smooth at the minute. I've still got all the riveting to do, and a little sun visor, a little slope bit there just to show that there's the main viewport for the crew, if you like. Well, we've still got that little one up there as well, and some ones on the side. And that side, if you can see it through the grate. I haven't glued this on yet. Now, just to give it some structural integrity, if you can see in here, that is mostly super glue. This is the one I use because you can get it for a couple of quid. I get mine from Boys, not Ork Boys. No, it's like a department store, and I've got a really good sort of modelling section with loads of glues and saw blades, and they've stock a lot of GW paints as well as a lot of other paint ranges as well. Not a huge selection, but not bad. But that's this high performance super glue would do, which has got quite a thick sort of consistency, viscous, so you can blob it on and it'll stay blobbed. It will slowly pool like the thinner one does, but it will stay blobbed, and when it's like that, you sprinkle a little bit of bicarbonate of soda on it, and it just sets straight away. And I mean, you'll not be able to tell you, if I give it a scratch near the mic, that's plastic card, that's the glue. It goes really coarse, and I've done that in there. I've done some blobs of it there. Now I know you're thinking, oh, it looks a bit unsightly, and it does, but you can work with it afterwards. Once it's fully set inside, like I say, it sets straight away. It's like an accelerator, but it does take time for the whole blob to sort of solidify. But we're just talking minutes, really. You can sort of sand it down, or what I'll probably do with this is just paint it up as rust, because I've certainly done it before with the thinner super glue and used it as a rust effect, and it looks pretty cool. But anyway, I'm just sort of waffling on now, so I'm going to get on with the next bit. Right, so in this update, you can see there's been a few changes. Mostly the rivets have been put on, as well as there's lots of little, if I can get this a bit closer to show this, armour plates and what have you. There's obviously these things, this lip and this support arm, which I'll come to in a second, as well as a couple of our little support arms. There's one there and one there, so there's two there now, not just the one, and this triangular one, which fits nicely into the triangle of the girder, doesn't run all the way through. It doesn't really need to, it's not there to support, it's there to support something, but not the main structure. I've roughed up the edges of the girders, as well as the girders on the back. A couple of little nicks in them and what have you. Obviously there's rivets on the back, and some rivets and armour plates. Go on, you beast. Turn it off the cover. No, it's not going to work, is it? There we go, you see some little armour plates underneath. You're not really going to see them, but it's nice to have them. I've put some speakers on the front. Now the idea with those speakers is that when the orcs are barreling forward with the music all blaring out, if you want the trampler squig to turn left, so if you want to go that way, trampler squig left, you blare the music out with that speaker. If you want to go right, you blare the music out with that speaker. If you want to go straight on, you blare both speakers at the same time. See, get the idea? That's a rudimentary steering sort of rig. A few dags put on it, just down here. And yeah, I mean, little bits and bobs done. Now the reason I've done all this, see that goes on there, is I've also done lots of little extra odds and sods for it. So if I grab them, I'll show you them. So firstly, there's this, which is just a little platform with some dag teeth around it and some checker plate, and that goes there. That is where the keyboardist will stand. Now, he won't be on his base, the base is just there for the meantime. But the keyboardist will stand there. Also got another one, some bigger teeth on the front, altogether a bit bigger, and this will go across this crossbar here, there. That's for the lead singer to stand on. There's also a couple of little tubes at the back, you can see those underneath, and I'll feed some chain down there, some super glue, then have some chain running from here going up to the top of the speaker system. That's just to sort of help show how it's supported, and plus it'll have extra chains hanging on it, so that's always cool. So I've got those two platforms built up. I've also got my speaker system, and I've built this on the top. Just an Ork rock sort of glyph, sign, banner, you know, made out of scrap metal. Back there you can see it's all just been bolted together. Well, I haven't actually put any rivets in the back yet, I'll have to do that. And on top of there's going to be a little grot bagpiper. I might put some other things on. I might have I don't know whether to attach the chains yet to some spokes coming out from the sides and other chains wrapped around going down to the singer platform, or maybe have them like coming up here like little posts and going down. It all depends whereabouts I can fit them on really. But yeah, he's going to have a little piper up there as well. On top of here, you can see in that turret I've put a little seat and a pair of legs. And that's for this fella. I'm going to move some stuff there, I'm just going to move here. For this fella. And he's just basically, he's up there with a slugger. And he's having a thoroughly nice time. For the clenched fist, I just took a hand with, I think it had a chopper. It might have been a shooter, I don't really know. I can't remember now. And I just cut it away. Oh, shooting camera. I just cut it away, and if you can see, just carved out a little indentation on the bottom and the top to make it look more like an empty fist. And he's going to be there. You know what, I'm going to have him that kind of angle to show he's proper rocking out. I think that'll be quite cool. Now for these side bits, this is where I decided to put the actual kill rig weapons. So I took this, which is the big lobber, and I've put it on a raised up pole, and for the actual foot of that, 'cause I didn't have the original base, I've used a killer can foot. So he stands on this little platform, and that platform will go there. Sort of just that extra triangular bar put in just gives it a little bit more support when I'm gluing it on. So he'll go there. Now, I bought this from a bit site and I didn't get all the bits. So I got the main body of the gun, as you can see, but I had to kitbash the bottom bit. That's just a couple of bits of plastic tube, different sizes. And for the bandolier of bombs, I just carved down a little projectile that was fired out of some Robotech guns I got. It was basically 2 cylinders held together with a smaller cylinder in between. One end was rounded, and I just carved them down and made those little bombs and glued them in place. And the fella who's going to be sitting on there firing it is him. Again, I didn't have the boys. I did have the arm, the correct arm, but the rest of it is just normal boys kit. And he sits on there, waving a chain around as you would do if you're firing a large gun and you're 25 feet in the air. Likewise with the other one. The big sticker raised up. I did have the proper base piece for this, but I wanted to raise it up again, so more plastic tube. I put some foot plates on it just to help fit the boy's legs, because this was totally scratch built boy. And as you can see, I've drilled a hole there, and it looks like I've drilled it with a chisel because I could not get the angle right. But there's the boy who's firing it. Used the arm off a boy warbiker with a little extension, with a plastic tube extension there, just so he sits on there and that just sits into that gap. His feet go on the pedals, and there's another motorbike handle on the other side. But of course he's flicking the bird. And he's slightly positioned so he's leaning out. I was trying to see this, if I can get the light on it. Yeah, me. Anyway, he's positioned so he can see round the side. And he goes there. On that side. Yeah, well, he's fallen off, but I'll go there. So together, it's got the kill rig weapons. The work tower just comes from the sheer rock power of the lead singer. I've decided that. Speaking of the lead singer, I made him this. It's just a little microphone stand. Pretty simple, plastic rod. So this is the fella in charge of the steering. He goes at the front. It's a Gear Guts grot. I've not really had much use for him since I got him. Just the big lever in the ground. But I thought he's going to come in useful, so obviously keep hold of him, throw nothing away. And this is perfect for him. I wasn't keen on the head, so I've cut that off and replaced it with this, which is a classic GW cap and eye patch type grot. And also after a few drinks last night, I decided to try giving him a little green stuff waistcoat, which isn't perfect, but he's very little and he's wearing rags anyway, so that's fine. And he'll be sat up the front on this platform operating the speakers from there. So yeah, oh yeah, there's also this, which is a big flag made out of a sheet of 1/2mm plastic card, which I've warped and mangled really with a lighter. You can see where it got a little bit too close sometimes and scorched some of it. It's all getting painted also, it doesn't matter. Although this bar across the top did get some fire damage there, and it's a little bit warped as well, but you know, so what. And there's a couple of the brackets off the side of the truck ladders. I'll get those to focus. Which go on there, and that just means that this, just unblue tag it. fit on the back of the speakers. Like that. So I'm going to have to wire the speakers, but not as much. Not quite as much, because of the banner hanging down, and I'll have the band name or a logo or something painted on there in a bit of freehand. Right, so a slight update here. Since the last show update thing, which was around January, it's now April. Months have passed. Passage of time. I should have like pages of a calendar, like fanning off here, and a classic way to describe time, but I haven't. And I suppose I have, in which case, well done me in editing, but I doubt it. But anyway, long time passed. I put the project aside for a while, didn't touch it, and I've only just got back to it, and I realised that I've done a few things. I think I actually lost a file which showed the finished build before painting, because I've now entered the well, I'll tell you what, let's just show you. So there you go, this is where I'm up to. Biggest thing is I've painted it. Well, I've started to paint it, but we'll come to that in a second. As you can see from the front, I levelled out the framework a bit. I just snapped it off down here and recut it, and it's a lot more straight now. Painting wise, I primed it black and then just sort of weathered it. I weathered it with a lot of browns and what have you, so it doesn't even look black anymore, but that's fine. I might darken some of the armour plates down. It's, you know, new plates. I've put some of the red panels on, and I'll need to put a couple of the blue ones on as well. But a lot of the detail like round here that I haven't even thought about. So that's where we are with the main body of it. What I've also got, I started painting the speaker stack. There we go, just again metallics and a couple of speakers with different shades. It's a little bit of a shine on that, so it's hard to tell. I decided to do, for the back of it, instead of putting all the wires in, I dropped my arse and bottled it, and instead I have made this little flag, and I don't know if I've actually shown you this before. It's been that long since I've done the other updates. I'm not bothered about that. That is going to attach on, I think it was there or thereabouts. So that's going to cover all the back up, and I'll have the band logo or some sort of thing on there. That's just a bit of 1/2mm plastic card, which I sort of fluttered up, if that's the technical term, with a lighter. Didn't work so well here, not too bad there. And whilst making these little saggy bits, I did sort of melt the bar a bit by mistake, and I just thought, oh, I don't care. It's a damaged bar, that's fine. I've got that. And then we've got the two platforms, which again I've started doing the metal on the base bit. That one goes on the front, and then that one goes up there. Obviously I've got the cocktail sticks on them, so these aren't exactly where they'll go, but you get the idea. Lovely, there we go. I've also, just to give you a sneak preview of the guns, so they have been painted, and I think that one's going there. I think that's where they're going. Oh yeah, there it is, yeah, of course. And they're going onto there. So I did put them on a telescopic stand. I say telescopic, it probably doesn't go up and down. Just to raise them up a bit. So I wanted them on the side there, but I didn't want them quite so low. And yeah, that one's got a Death Dread foot with a stand, which I think is quite cool. I also painted the crew for the guns. So that fella there is sitting on that. He's got it. See the little hole I carefully carved into the side? That little stick bit goes in there, and he's got a big motorbike handle. Controls for it, and that fella sits on the big lobber. Got a little grot bagpiper who stands up on the top of the speakers. A little grot. Oh no, sorry, I'll show you him first. Right, get that in focus. So you can see there the little pair of Ork pants in the hatch. He goes in the top there. And I just basically cut him. I cut the weapon away from his right hand, and he's just going to be screaming at the skies in absolute adoration of the tunes. And he's going to be up on the front platform with the singer. He's got the lever which goes left right for the speaker controls. He's a grot. He's got a tatty little jacket waistcoat there, and I haven't stuck his head on yet because I don't know exactly where I'm going to position him, and I want his head to be looking in the right direction. Oh, speaking of direction, I want his head to be looking in the right direction. Which way am I going to be looking? Anyway, you get the idea. So yeah, that's where we're up to. So when next you see it, I will have finished painting the main kill rig. I hope to have made a lot of progress. Well, finished, let's be honest, finished painting this as well. Once I've got those done, see, once I've got those two bits done, as I've already painted the crew, and I'll tell you what, I'll get these done as well, the two platforms, then I can get those stuck in place. And then, do you know what? I think once I get that done, I think I'm done. Apart from this, apart from the flag, which is going to be a bit freehand. Still haven't decided on the name yet for the band, although I've got an idea which I think I might go with. But yeah, I think once, yeah, because if I come back and do an update on these, I mean, that's not going to be exciting, is it? Oh, I've painted some floor. Get in. Yeah. I think I'll leave that. I'll get this finished. Then I'll come back and do. Oh, do you know what? Let's see what happens. This is not even going to be the video because this is boring. Look, let's watch an old Geordie man think. Brilliant. Right. Let's stop this bit here. Well, I think we're getting near the end. Look at that painty thumb. Look at that. Anyway, this is where we're up to now. As you can see, I'm getting there. I've glued them on the base, and I've glued the platforms on, and I've added some chains and wires, and I've painted all the carnival colours and a few bits of detail. Not all the detail, still got a few wires to do. There's a wire around this side, some wires around there, you know, a few other little odds and sods to do, but it's getting there. It's getting there. I've glued the grot in, who's essentially steering it with that lever which operates the speakers. But yeah, that's how we're going. We're getting there. What I've also got to show you is, I'll just pop that down there for a second. I've glued these on here, which is the drum kit with the Ork drummer. So he's there. There's a little clenched fist there, freehand, and of course the one in the hatch sort of just rocking out. So that of course will sit, and watch how easy this goes on. I was being sarcastic. There we go. That's actually not too bad. It normally takes us a little bit longer than that to get it on. So that goes up there. Now also you can see I've stuck some little lugs on here with not to put my big fucking ham hock hand in the way, with magnets. How do they work? Nobody knows. So I can just pop the gunners on for ease of transport. That wouldn't have been nice if it was in focus. Magic finger. Put your hand behind it, does that help? Oh, I know, I've got a special button. So that's what it looks like up on the top deck there. I've also got, I'll show you the rest of the band. The keyboardist, I'll put this down, he's going to stand up there just to give you an idea where he's going to go. That's his platform. Put that down a sec. And he's got a Flamahar organ. Nice pair of shorts, some red hair, Paintboy Martins, and a lovely little Imperial Guard teddy on the back of his tank. I think it's a lovely touch. But yep, lovely little keyboardist. I've got a bassist here. Go on. There we go. With his rocket firing axe, and he's got his own speaker on the back, and he's just magnetised on the base. I was going to try and magnetise them all so I could take them on and off, but it wasn't going to work. And he's going to stand on this platform here, I think at about that angle, as one of the butcher boys, I want to say. I don't know. They're like the fellas at the side who twat you with a pole arm. There's a nice bassist there. A guitarist. Lash. Do you see? With the top part, do you see? Lash, do you see? It's clever, isn't it? He's got a nice skull guitar there. The chainsaw blade underneath. And a lovely coat all fluttering out in the breeze. Stuck with the cherry red Paintboy Martins. And he was one of the main reasons why I couldn't do the magnetising, because I'll put a blob of blue tack on his foot there. He had one foot and I could fit a magnet in there, but I couldn't fit one in the peg, and it was just too, the magnet's only 2 mil and he was just too wobbly. But he obviously goes on to the side, and then finally up front on this platform. Let's just have a little bit of focus. How I focus you? What the frig's wrong with this? So up there on this platform goes the singer. And he's up there rocking out. That's quite cool. And he's like knob size. He's a good sized orc. Ripped a bit. Bat for clobbering. And a little shooter there as well. Now he's got a mic, so I've also made a tiny little, I say a tiny little mic stand, just to stand next to him. Just so he's got, it's just there. I don't know, not necessary, but I thought I'd do it. And oh yes, the speakers. So I painted them up. I've painted the Ork logo, just using typical sort of Ork colours. Warflesh, Warboss green, Scarsnick green, I think Creed camo as well, and just stippled it. I actually got a brush. I bought a pack of cheap Chinese brushes, or cheap brushes from China, whichever way around, and I just snipped it off. Cut it back, they worked out about 30 pence each. Snipped it off and then just stipple. And yeah, I was really pleased the way it came out. And then with the sponge, put a bit of the, the chipped and corrosion and what have you. Little grot piper. I'm going to put a few more things up here as well. It's got the glyphs on the side, and on the back I've got the flag which covers up the wiring, and yeah, Rage Against the Marine, that's the name of the band. Suitably orky. Little bit Grot Rebellion vibes I'm getting from it. Well, there we go. Music is for everybody. So that, again, with the magnets, leaps onto the back of that there to give a backdrop to up there. Now, I've got a few other things I'm going to be putting on, but I haven't painted these yet. I've got some bottles. They're from Anvil, and I've tried to paint some of them up there already to look like green glass. I've mixed results, but not too bad. I then realised that I haven't really done the back, so I think I've done the back so far and then just stopped. So I need to go back. I need to do those, and I've left a few of them here. You can see black, sorry, there, which are going to end up being brown. So you got the full ones, and where you see smashed ones, there's generally 2 smashed halves to make a whole one, except there. So I can lie those lying around and scattered around, because everyone's going to have a beer when they're up in there, aren't there? There'll be beer bottles all over the shop. So I'm going to put them on. I've also got a couple of squigs, which have already been primed and dry brushed, because I'm going to just do these slap chop style. This one I'm just going to put running alongside on its base. I think you can see there's, I don't know if you can see from that angle, but there's slightly more base on this side than it is on that side. So down there, around there, prime location for a little squiggly beast to be running alongside it. And on this side, running up this strut, I'm going to put that squig on. I'm going to cut these mushrooms off, which sounds fucking painful, but I'm going to cut these mushrooms off and have them sort of running up there, and that's the squig with the grot inside his mouth. So, haha, that's funny. And then finally, I think finally, I've done a few grots. I've done this fella to go on the top with the piper, sticking it around here. Anyways, the grot with the rifle, I've given him a scope, and I've also given him an iron sight on the side. Call of Duty style, you know, for tactical close range combat. I'd be more likely to run away, to be fair, but I was quite pleased that that scope fitted over his eye without too much trimming. So he's going up on the top, and then these two are just little boozy boys. He's just a standard one. I took his sword off and fit a beer bottle into his hand instead, and that's a pissed grot face if ever I've seen one. And that fella is, again, pretty standard. The arms, I just cut the hand grenade out, put a broken bottle in there, and twisted the wrist slightly. And that arm, he's still actually holding the head of the hand grenade. You can see the rivets and what have you. And I just stuck the neck of a bottle directly into that. I think once it's painted, that'll look enough like a bottle. I might still paint the hand grenade, like I might paint it leather, like one of those leather casings you get for like a nice posh bottle of drink. But I don't know what he'd have with it. But I think they both look pretty cool for boozy grots. And the boozy grots, little points on, little platform there, little platform there, and that's where they're going to be. And then I think I might be done. So I've still got a bit to do. Not much. Got 5 models to paint, which will take us maybe, I'll probably get those done in a night, to be fair. maybe 2 if I'm not pushing it. I'll do the bottles same night. That won't take us too long, and then I've just got to glue things into place and finish off a little bit more painting on the actual rig itself. We're getting there. I think we're nearly done. I think the next time I come back for this, it's just going to be completely finished. And here it is, completely finished, as promised. I mean, in all honesty, it's been a few months between the last clip and this one. It's been finished for some time. 6 months maybe, but yeah, totally done. So a few extra. So a few extra bits. You can see around the feet on the various platforms there is bottles. Where's me pokey stick? That'll do, pokey stick. So we've got some bottles around the feet of the guitarist, and oh yep, push it down with some brown spirit bottles, as well as some broken beer bottles. Lift a little bit. Same bottles there, bottles there, bottles there, rolling off the drum stage in front of the drum kit. Ah, there are. Oh, even the grots are in the party with a few broken bottles, and full bottles as well, of course. So lots of broken bottles. I've had a couple of squigs. Just that one there running up some scaffolding with a little grot in his mouth. And on the other side, see how I handle it. Such confidence. There's not a little squig running alongside the rig itself. I think there's a little patch of mushrooms on it as well. Yeah, just there. So some little mushrooms growing on the ground. So yeah, all done and dusted. It's a very, very busy model. I mean, every time you look at it, you see something new. I mean, I don't. I've put all the things on it, so I'm very much aware of them. But people have told us that. And yeah, when it comes to transporting it, which is obviously going to be a bit of a pain in the arse, it does slightly come apart. If I hold it like that, you'll see the overall height of the beast. So some of it does come off. Namely, the speaker, that gun turret, and that gun turret. So as you can see, it's a bit smaller now. This actually comes off as well, although it doesn't really do much for its profile. In fact, if anything, it just means that if it does get a knock from the top, I'm losing these two fellas. But what it does mean I can do is get this, plop it inside, thusly, and then I'm going to put the drum stage back on it, and of course the speakers and the turrets. I'll get my phone. Yeah, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Warbosses of the Apocalypse.
Seemed appropriate to let that finish, so I don't know what that sounded like on a little Bluetooth speaker through my mic, but hopefully it wasn't just a fucking noise. There we go. I can play me songs through it. So this Ork rock band's going to play a lot of YouTube music, you know, if it's going to be on a channel, or if it's going to be just me mates, it's mostly going to be playing 70s punk rock, ska, maybe not so much Northern Soul, although I have heard of a band recently called the Goth Rockers, and I've listened to a few of their songs, very Orky. I'll probably put a few of those on as well. So yeah, there we go, finished. kill rig is daft enough and it's big enough to fit right in with the rest of me war. So there you go, kill rig finished. It's been a long time coming, to be fair. Must be about 12 months in the making this video. Although the kill rig didn't take as long to make, and really the video was sort of started and then shelved for a good few months. But yeah, there it is. As you get an idea of the size, hopefully. About kill rig size. I've got a kill rig up here, so you can get an idea, comparison. That's head to head. It's hard to judge, but they're about the same footprint, but I think this one's got a bit more height. Obviously, it hasn't got all the bits on, but yeah, it's going to be a bit taller. It doesn't look particularly beast snaggery. I think it would fit quite well into any standard Ork force. You know, I mean, you could put a kill rig in any standard Ork force, but if you wanted to keep it sort of a bit fluffy, I can do that with this particular build. And I'm going to make the other one a lot more snaggery. I don't know what I'm going to use to pull it, since I've used the Trampler squig. I've thought about using a dread. I've thought about building a little truck cab. I do like the idea of a squig pulling it, but a different squig to the Trampler squig. I'll have to see what I can sort out. But to be fair, that is low on my list of priorities. So anyway, yeah. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. This is the long format video, but there's no point keeping you any longer. Christ knows what we're at now. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And until next time, take care.